but I did particularly like it when he would hang up on people on the view screen.
The Shellyak.
Yes, I love that.
That was one of my. I like when he goes and he like does the. And they like cut to every single cast member and like they're all, and even Troy kind of does a little like a smirk. I love it.
Yeah.
Anomaly. I am an anomaly.
Anomaly.
I am an anomaly. I am an anomaly. Anomaly.
An anomaly.
Anomaly. Something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. An oddity, peculiarity, irregularity, inconsistency, incongruity, a rarity.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hello, and welcome to the Anomaly Podcast. I'm Angela. This is Jen.
I'm Jen. I'm voting for Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's our only hope, and I am an anomaly. To heck with those other guys.
Well, that could be a whole conversation.
Yeah.
That could definitely be. Well, speaking of leaders.
Yes.
This past week, yesterday, in fact, from this recording, and a few days ago, as of the publishing of this, was Patrick Stewart's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. Stewart.
Happy birthday.
Sir Stewart. Sir Stewart.
Yes, Sir Patrick Stewart. I did put that in the post.
Titles are important over there, so we got to remember his title.
It definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Hold on one second. Like Ron Moore.
You know what?
What?
Oh, go ahead. We'll talk about this later. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Okay, so it's Patrick Stewart's birthday, so we were going to talk about our favorite captains. And then we were going to build our bridge crew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Actors from the shows, and then also our group of friends who would be who in the bridge cruise.
Okay. So.
All right.
So who's your favorite
You
captain?
go first. Oh, you put me on the spot.
Oh, you want me to go? I can go first. I mean,
it's hard. It's hard.
It's not hard.
It's hard for me.
It's not hard.
Because I have two now.
Oh, well, mine's Patrick Stewart. Captain Picard is hands down my favorite captain.
Why? You must explain.
Well, first of all, TNG is my favorite show, Star Trek show. And he's just so Patrick Stewart. And also I love Patrick Stewart as a person and as an actor. And so it's hard to really consider anyone else.
Well, now that you put it that way, that's a good way of judging.
I mean, and I do like that sort of the sensibility of TNG of being more of a negotiator than a cowboy. Mm-hmm. There is some merit
nothing wrong with cowboys.
I know, but I'm talking about, but in space negotiations, sometimes not the best idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Space negotiations.
Well, when you're dealing with alien species, not all of them want you to come in guns a-blazing.
True.
You know.
True.
Ask Mal. Doesn't always work.
No. But I wouldn't say Mal's very good at negotiation either.
No. I know, that's what I mean. He's not. So, but we're talking about Star Trek captains. Right. I think a close second for me would probably be Janeway.
Oh my gosh, we're going to agree on this all the way around. This is not a very entertaining episode if we're both going to be in agreement.
Well,
but maybe we can say who's our least favorite. We'll probably disagree on that.
Maybe.
I like Patrick Stewart, number one,
mm-hmm.
because he is, I don't know, he was like, that was the TV series that I grew up with. I started watching TNG with my dad, TOS with my dad, as I've mentioned before, when I was a kid, but I didn't really identify with any of the characters on that show. Mm-hmm. So Patrick Stewart as a captain appealed to me because he was kind of like, he could get the job done without killing a bunch of people. Or making out with every female alien that came his way.
Yeah, that was Riker's job.
I guess so. So I also like the fact that he was he had to warm up to kids.
Yes.
But you could tell he liked them. He just wasn't good with kids.
But he's okay.
He's He's okay. That episode where he's singing
Captain Picard Day?
Yes, that one. What's the
excellent-
title of that episode? We need to cover that soon because that's a good one.
I'm not good at episode titles. I remember the whole thing. I remember the kids and all that stuff and everything. And that's the one where Troy also kind of gets her first idea of wanting to get her command.
Yeah.
Take her command test or whatever. It's very interesting. It's a good episode. Now I can't think of the name of it. But
that's how we learned all the words to
Perry. That's such a good episode. Yeah. But yeah, the Captain Picard Day where they have all of the art
projects.
Yeah, the art that the kids have
Science
made.
project.
It's pretty adorable. And I think they were able to, like, name the star date. It was a few weeks ago. Because I saw somebody on Facebook put it up where it was like, it's officially Captain Picard Day. So that's kind of fun. And so if you get a day, obviously you'd be the best captain.
Exactly. I don't know. He has a different captaining style than Janeway, but I also like her for similar reasons.
You know who I kind of like is the Chris Pine Kirk. It's a totally different type of Star Trek, but I kind of like Chris Pine. I think it's an interesting, like, if you just...
he's nice to look at, or because...
No, it's not just that. I mean, obviously he's nice to look at, but I'm not talking about that. I think it's interesting, this idea of Kirk having this different history, you know? So he has a really different personality. It really is an alternate, as they get further in, especially, it's an alternate history. And so if you kind of step back and look at it, I don't hate him. There's other things I don't like about the series, but I like him as Kirk.
Discussed that too many times on the show.
I know, but I was specifically talking about him as captain.
Yeah. Janeway.
Yes.
The captain we do like almost as best.
That's
almost
true.
as good as Picard. Did I say Picard? It's like pecan. How do you say pecan? You say pecan?
I say pecan.
And then we should say Picard, not
Picard.
Picard.
I've never said Picard.
Anyway.
Jean-Luc Picard?
Yeah, is there a Jean-Luc Picard
Jean-Luc Picard here?
Janeway's style is completely different, and I know that she gets a lot of flack for some of the decisions she makes on her show, and most of the time I found myself agreeing with 7 of 9 when she brought up a complaint. I was like, that's right, 7. That's illogical. Why is she doing that? But I like her captaining style because she's obviously the leader, but she's in a position of it's different than Picard. So she befriends her crew in a different way. I mean, not just the senior officers, but she reaches out to all the crew members, whereas Picard was a little untouchable.
Yes, he definitely had like a wall around
Janeway
him.
was more approachable, and she felt it was partially her job to make everyone understand that she was going to bring them home, and she wanted them to feel like they could,
trust her. And I think
her.
too that has something to do. It'd be interesting to see what the Janeway character would have been like in a more normal Star Trek environment, because I think she kind of had to act like that because it was such a special circumstance, and that's why it's so interesting that in a lot of ways you can't really judge them against each other because they all have these different circumstances, So, but I mean, we can still have our preferences, and that's definitely.
I like the way she handled the Borg Queen.
Yeah.
I like the kick-ass version of Janeway a lot.
I even like how she handled
the diplomatic
Q.
version.
I like her interactions with Q
because
were cool.
I like it when she was not following Star Trek protocol. Starfleet protocol, and was basically trying just to get them home any way she could, and if that meant befriending people that she shouldn't, then by God, she was going to do it.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And also knowing to use the resources that you have with the with Chakotay and all of the Maquis,
not discounting them simply because they were a criminal.
Right, but in that situation, desperate times call for desperate measures. It's hard too because just the writing on these different shows was so different too. Different audiences that you're going for. I don't know if you read the Cracked article that I posted. Did you see it?
No.
And it talked about kind of defending a little bit the new reboots of Star Trek about back and forth, kind of this is what's good, this is what's bad, and that one of the things that I think is so important for Star Trek that he said as well was that the reason Star Trek is different than all other things is that there's optimism in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like TNG so much, is that it starts, and TOS, from a certain point of view as well, is that Gene Roddenberry set up this idea of everything's going to be okay. You know, yeah, there's going to be some trouble. And in the history of Star Trek, there is a lot of trouble. Everything kind of goes to complete crap, and that's how the warp engine is even created, is that the whole world is kind of fallen apart. But we figure it out. We make it happen. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And so much fiction, especially science fiction and fantasy right now, is just dark, dark.
Can we turn the lights on?
It's just so dark, and it's like, I think sometimes we need some optimism,
especially when the world is dark.
Yes,
and
yes.
Need, like, some counterbalance there.
In TOS, that was the thing, is that here you had the 60s was so embroiled in this idea of, like, everybody hates each other, and there's all this stuff going on, and what did Roddenberry do? Here, it's way in the future, and all of these people who would have been enemies, before, are now all working together. And that's a great message, and I think they can have all the action and lens flare that they want, but if they could just bring back a little bit of the optimism, I think that would be cool. Yeah. So you should read that article.
I will.
Okay.
Did you post it recently?
Mm-hmm. I put it on the page.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's true, and I think that was Picard's kind of vision of, the way things should be. Everyone has an equal opportunity, and let's hear everyone's side of the story, and instead of picking sides, that was kind of his MO, was to do that. But I did particularly like it when he would hang up on people on the view screen.
The Shellyak.
Yes, I love that.
That was one of my. I like when he goes and he like does the. They like cut to every single cast member, and like they're all, and even Troy kind of does a little like a smirk. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And he's like, all right, open. And poor Worf is like really confused and nervous, like, you want me to? Should I call him back?
It'll be fine.
That was great. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So who is your least favorite? I mean, well, who's your third favorite and then least favorite? Third favorite. You said Kirk from the Alternate Universe?
Well, I would say that I like him, but I think Archer would probably be my third. I think because, I mean, see, this is another one where reality and fantasy sort of mix, because I just adore Scott Bakula. I mean,
the character, a little bit of himself comes through in the character, so it's natural to think of them that way, I think, because a little bit of Kate Mulgrew is in Janeway, and I think that's why I like her, because she's snarky and
interesting.
You read her biography. Check it out. It's awesome.
Really interesting childhood is what you said. I do want to.
Interesting childhood, and just her life is interesting in general. But not as much Star Trek as I would have liked. But she gives some backstories which were interesting. But
that's good.
Least favorite. I mean, my third favorite would be Captain Archer for the same reason.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, he was kind of like Janeway in that he was approachable.
Yes.
But he also made stupid decisions that I didn't agree with. I never disagreed with Picard. Yeah, except for when he never got together with Crusher. Then I disagreed with him.
I still think in my fantasy world that they do get together.
They do in the books.
Eventually.
Spoiler alert, sorry.
That's all. I mean, I'm sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry.
But those books have probably been out for a while.
They have.
So in my fantasy world, it's like my favorite thing about What Is It? Insurrection is that Riker and Troy finally get married. I'm like, I don't care. The whole movie could suck even worse than it does. I don't care.
They're together.
I needed to see that scene.
Yes, I agree.
I needed it, and it was even in costume. Loved it. I don't care. I love it. Yeah, that was important. Anyway, off the subject. So, least favorite.
I'm going to say Kirk. I know I'm going to make a lot of enemies by saying that, but I'm
going to say Cisco, but it's not because...
I like Cisco.
It's mainly because I'm not a fan of Deep Space Nine. So I just don't know it as well. And I think I wouldn't give it to Kirk just because it's Kirk. It's Kirk. So I'd have a hard time saying Kirk is my least favorite.
I like William Shatner. This is the opposite.
I do like William Shatner.
This is the opposite of what us identifying the actor with the character. Because in this case, I really like Shatner, but I'm not a fan of Kirk. Because, and it's not Shatner's fault. I think it's Roddenberry's fault, because Shatner was the womanizing.
Think about where
jackass.
Think about the time in which it was.
I like Shatner in the movies. I like Kirk in the movies, not the TV show.
But that was written for a different sensibility.
It was.
It's written for the 80s, whereas the other was written for the 60s. So.
But it wasn't. I think it's because that part of his character was not involved in the show. I mean, you see him with his ex-wife. She wasn't. They weren't even married.
No.
I don't think. So, and that's okay. But I think it's just all the sleeping around that bothers me, because I mean,
I get it, but I think it is just so interesting. It's hard for me.
Also,
it's hard to criticize.
Rip his shirt all the time. Did Picard ever rip his shirt on the show?
He did have that one robe,
and if he did, I think he'd probably be stacked. I'd like to see a Picard with his ripped shirt. Okay,
you have seen it.
I need to reel it back in, don't I?
No, I think it's amazing. And then you need to
graphic
design.
I think he's in better shape now than he was back then.
You need to graphic design some beautiful, like, I Heart Valentine's cards with Picard.
I might do that.
I love the idea. That would be amazing. We could make digital cards. Everybody would love them. So they could be memes.
Why is it that Sisko is your least favorite?
Just because I don't really like Deep Space Nine. It's not really him.
But you haven't given it a chance.
I know, but you told me it's hard because it's all Star Trek, so it's all kind of awesome. I mean, we're not starting at 0.
No.
We're starting at a huge plus because it's Star Trek. So you're asking me to pick.
I know. It's like trying to say which child is your favorite.
It's hard.
It's difficult to say.
It's hard.
Sure. So.
My baby can't understand me, so it's definitely my 8-year-old.
Who would you create? Oh, if you were an admiral and you were putting a crew together, or
from everyone on Star Trek,
from everyone on Star Trek, or maybe possibly, we'll save you being the captain for when we create our team out of our own friends. But
Okay. So if I was going to create,
if you were an admiral and you were assigning,
and I was doing it right now, I would. All right.
Okay.
So, for my captain, I definitely think it should be Picard. For my first officer, I would make the first officer Archer. I would have my science officer definitely be... It would have to be Data. Yeah, it would have to be Data. No. Science officer Spock. Engineer B'Elanna.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Helmsman. That's where Data can go, because then he can be on the team. Then communications, I would have Hoshi and Dr. the EMH. I love him.
I like the EMH too. I do. Okay, so I always... Are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Like stepping all over you.
No, that's perfect.
I always wanted to have a series that was a medical starship, and I thought it would be kind of like an ER or a Chicago Hope in space kind of thing.
Okay.
If they would do that, it would be awesome. And I think Crusher would make an excellent captain.
There you go. Okay.
I think the first officer could be the EMH.
Okay.
I think that counselor, definitely Troy. Let's see. Science officer, I would make Jadzia the science officer.
Okay.
Engineer B'Elanna. So this is basically all women crew because the EMH is a hologram.
That's all right.
The helmsman. I like the.
You can have Ro.
Oh, Ro.
Then you can have your all-girl band.
So bitchy.
I love Ro.
I like her too. Anyway, she has to get along with the crew, and I think she bumped heads too often with Troy and Crusher.
Okay, so communications.
So, not her. Communications would be Uhura.
Okay, great.
Uhura. And the chief medical officer on this sojourn would be, since Wow.
It's all doctor people.
It is. Because it's a medical ship.
So would you need a chief medical officer?
Yes.
Okay.
And it would be Bones.
Yay!
The
He
EMH
needs to
kind of
do-
needs somebody to talk to. And they would get along swimmingly, I think.
Okay. I like it. And I also think in my crew, I would also have Guinan.
Guinan.
As an
yes,
extra.
she would make an excellent,
I just want her to be Guinan.
okay, in the bar, but okay.
Yeah, I just want her to be Guinan.
Yeah.
I don't want her to be, she's not supposed to be because she's magic.
Well, then if we're going to have, like, somebody like that
Mm-hmm.
run the bar, I want her bartender, or the guy from the lower decks. What's his name? The one that was filling in for Guinan when she wasn't there?
Yes, I can't
I
remember
want
his
him
name.
to be on my ship.
Okay, then.
So there you
There
go.
you go.
What about Friends?
Oh.
Like Friends crew, if you had a starship, who would be who in your crew?
Well, I would obviously be the captain. I think then you should be my first officer / science officer,
Okay.
like Kirk and Spock.
Okay.
I think that makes the most
Not
sense.
because you've related to me as a Vulcan before.
I believe that that's true. Okay, so there's that. And then my medical officer would be Jen.
Good one.
That's
Yes.
obvious. My security officer would be Stephanie in my all-girl band. My engineer would be Jim. Helmsman. I'd have Bart be my helmsman because he's a really good driver. And communications officer would be my friend Winter.
Yes.
There you go.
I like it.
Do you like it?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, for me, I would be captain because I'm the Picard of our group.
Okay, that's fair.
You would be my first officer. Science officer.
More like Riker, right?
Yeah. Science officer, I would give that to Rico.
Ooh, excellent.
Rico
Excellent
would
choice.
be my science officer.
I love it.
My engineer would be David
Uh-huh.
because he's good at fixing things. My husband.
He is.
Helmsman. My dad.
There you go.
My dad. He knows how to get everywhere.
That's true.
Communications, my mom.
Okay.
And the doctor would be Jen.
I would have my mom be Guinan.
That's good. I like
She would
that.
just be my mom.
Who would be our Guinan? Who would be my Guinan?
Who'd be your Guinan?
I think Sarah Gilbertson.
Oh, there
would
you
be
go.
Guinan. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Or Rick. Rick could be her bartender. Rick Moyer.
There you go. All right. No more soup for you.
Okay.
All right. Do you think we did okay?
I think it was a good discussion.
I think so,
Off
too.
the cuff discussion there.
I think for not planning at all, we did pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, those are my toys.
You
We're gonna-
can't really see them.
We're
but
working them into the new background for our
yeah.
video shows. So,
Princess Leia, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and a sundry of other things.
and I've got a picture of myself on the bridge of the Enterprise. So that's.
I am jealous about that.
We'll Photoshop you in.
Okay. I'll be at
There's
the
an empty chair.
Science station
There's an
behind
empty
you.
chair. I'll scan that, and you can just put
I
everybody
will-
else in.
Do not challenge me. I will do it.
Oh, I know you will.
I will do it.
I knew you could do it. All right. Well, I'm Angela.
And I'm Jen. And you've been watching the Anomaly podcast where female and fandom converge. Oh, yeah. You can email us at girlygeeks@gmail.com.
I'll put it on there.
Right there.
It'll be a thing.
Yes. Call us at 432-363-4742.
So proud of her.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Twitter at Anomaly Podcast. Pinterest, please follow us on Pinterest. We're all over Pinterest.
Yes.
And like our Facebook page and join our Facebook group. And
Yeah, we have a really cool pin board about women wearing sensible armor. That's one of my favorites.
it's one of our most popular.
So
Because not sexy armor, but sensible
still
armor.
sexy.
Sexy yet sensible.
Yes.
Functional.
Yes. Okay. Bye.
Bye.